Okay guys, so welcome to the mixing section of this course. I really want to thank you guys for making it this far. This is actually probably my favorite section of the course, aside from actually writing the music. I really enjoy mixing, so I hope you guys enjoy it as much as I do, and I get to show you guys all my favorite tricks and tips and philosophies when it comes to mixing. So gonna get right into it. We're gonna start with volume balancing. One of the things I've noticed with other courses, they don't really touch upon that, and that's kind of disappointing. So I had to learn how to do this on my own. And I like to start with volume balancing first before I touch any kind of EQs and compression to really just get an idea of what I'm dealing with. So what I usually do is I start with, let me just lower all of this. With all of these, lower these, and I like to start with my I like to start with my kick and snare because it's the foundation for my drum mix, as well as pretty much the foundation for the mix in general. I usually kind of just zero in on the kick and snare pretty much all the time. So as long as they're kind of peaking together, I'm cool. So I use this plugin here for that. This one called Dust Analyzer. It's free, I believe. And I kind of just look. So yeah, my snare is a little bit lower than I'd like it to be with relationship of the kick. So let's can turn that up a little bit. Let's check another section. Yeah, okay. So we're gonna bring up the snare a little bit. Just a little bit. Alright, that works for me. And then I'm kind of just gonna start bringing in everything else. This is a secondary top microphone for the snare. You don't always have to do that, but I like using it as the option. As an option, I always tend to just blend it in there from time to time. So let's see how that sounds. Let's solo the snare real quick. Yeah, so it adds like a body. It's just a different microphone. It adds a different type of body to it. So I prefer that. Let's listen to this bottom snare mic here. Yeah, that's good enough. I just wanted to add a bit of that sizzle that's in there, and that's good for me. So cool. So I'm gonna bring in the overheads here. Now you will see me do an EQ move on the overheads. Now if these were natural overheads, there would be a kick drum and a bunch of other stuff on here, but there isn't. So we don't have to worry about too much about that lower stuff. If there was, I would do something similar to where I'm cutting off a bunch of low end like this. I mean, I guess there is some, we can leave it, but in the grand scheme of things, it's really not gonna make a whole lot of difference. But if there was the other parts of the kit that I did put in, like the kick, the toms, and all that, this would be absolutely necessary, but it really isn't right now. So let's just leave that in here and then blend that into what we got. Let's see. Okay, same thing with the rooms. Let me hear the rooms here. Okay, so yeah, totally, you're gonna hear me go ahead and get this filtered. Alright, so for the high cut, I'm just hearing for that like white noise stuff. 12K is usually a good place to cut for rooms. Sometimes I do go a little lower, maybe like 10K. Yeah, a lot of that is not really needed in a room. And the cool thing is with rooms is that if you have multiple room tracks, they may sound similar, and you can just kind of copy over the EQ moves you did. But let's blend this in. Okay, let me hear this guy here. Yeah, that works for me. I normally don't deal with two room mics, but the rooms are fantastic and superior drummers, so I always like to use them as much as I can. So I really want you guys to pay attention to how the rooms really affect the snare sound. I know it's subtle, but it's there, and it adds that extra sense of realism. I might even just bring these up a little bit more. Yeah, all the mid-range disappears when I mute it. So far we've done kick, snare, overheads, and rooms. Let's go ahead and bring in the toms. So let's find a tom section. Let's see, where's a roll? Here, this is a roll right here. You can use this one right here. We might be okay with just putting it all the way up. Maybe not so. Maybe a little bit less. Sounds pretty good. Okay, sounds pretty good there. Let me hear this section. So now that toms are added in, the rooms seem a little bit much, so let's... That sounds fine there. And it's a balancing process. This is how volume balancing is. It's really just back and forth a lot. I don't know how to emphasize this enough, that you want to spend a lot of time here, like a lot of time. As you start adding other elements of the mix in, like your bass guitar, your guitars and stuff, it will change the dynamics of how your balance is. So you got to go back and readjust, go back and readjust. And sometimes I'll just spend like 30 minutes to an hour here. So I'm going to go ahead and finish up the drums here. Let's go with the hi-hat. Let's find a hi-hat section here. So what I'm looking for with the spot mics, like the hi-hat China Ride, is really just a 3D kind of image. If I mute this, you'll hear that the hi-hat actually disappears from my left side. So pay attention to that. I don't know if I'll do it one more time. Hopefully you guys caught that. That's really important when it comes to that kind of stuff. It adds that extra sense of realism. Let me go ahead and move this up here. All right, time for the ride. Okay, let's check out the China. Okay, that works for me. And that's pretty much it for the drums for now. We're gonna go ahead and keep going on. Let's bring in our bass. Now, bass is special because I have copies of actually how the bass is. So, some. So let's do that with conjunction with our drums. Okay. Now I do like to filter the bass at this point so it doesn't conflict with the kick, so I get a more accurate representation of the volume that I'm actually going to be working with. So usually I filter off a bass around like 60. Lately though, I have been going a little higher, up to 70 to 80, but we'll just leave it at 60 for now, and if I need to cut more I will. But this now allows the kick to have its breathing room, because I remember I'm only cutting up to 40 on the kick, and I'm cutting everything from 60 on the bass. So this allows me to get a little bit more accuracy when I'm actually volume balancing the kick against the bass. Let me listen to that again. Okay, that works for me. I'm going to go ahead and jump to the guitars. So this is the plugin I use for my guitars. It's the STL Tone Hub. It's fantastic. I'm using the 5152 preset with the Marshall cabinet, or the Mesa cabinet with the Marshall speakers. And this is just a preset that came with it. It's a temporary thing. I'm going to tweak this in the mix. I have a different approach to guitars than I feel most people do. In one specific area, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. I just wanted to point that out, that I am running this in real time. I do not have printed tracks. These are all being ran through the plugin. So some people will tell you to commit to your guitar tracks, which is true. We'll do that though at a later point in time. So we're gonna go ahead and take a listen here, bring these up. Okay, so the bass is too loud now that I have the guitars in. Okay, so now I'm also hearing the toms are being a little choked, so I'm gonna bring them up a little bit more. Okay, that's working good so far. You want to make move as fast as you can, because it's what's gonna allow you to stay objective. If you stay stuck on one area too long, it's a bit of a detriment to you. I forgot to pan these actually. I'm sorry about that. So let me do left 50 and right 50. Right 50. Oh, what's going on here? Oh, right 50. These are my lead tracks. I'm not using the same amplifier. I tend to use this little plugin here, the Ben Bruce from JST, for leads. It has a really nice mid-range that I like for leads, so that's what I use. Some clipping over here. Let me bring down my limiter. Cool. So let's bring in the screams one by one. Start with the yells here. Let's hear that again. I think actually I'm gonna just leave them where they were on 0. Okay, now that the leads are kicked in, I do want to raise my rhythm guitars up, maybe like a dB. They're at 3.7. I just brought them up to 3.0. Yeah, and the vocals were definitely influencing that. Now, I don't know if you guys noticed, but there's also a lot of bass kicking in on the guitars. So I'm going to filter them out at like 90 to 80. I'm just going to leave them at 90. And you should hear the low end clean up a little bit now that I have that filter kicked in. And I'm actually going to take the extra step of filtering them out at 12K. I tend to do that with guitars, is filter a lot of stuff from 12K and up. Now, you don't see me using any of this section, these other EQs and compressors part of this plugin, because filtering and volume balancing to me go in hand. So as I'm moving along, I'm noticing these little things like, oh, hey, the guitar is adding extra bass that it's not necessary. I'm going to take that out. Oh, hey, the bass is conflicting with the kick drum. I'm going to take out what's not necessary. The vocals, you'll see me do that as well. So let me just go ahead and take a second listen, though, real quick. Yeah, big time. So listen to with the out the filter and then with the filter. You could definitely hear it on the palm mutes, where it's kind of controlling the palm mutes a lot more when I do engage the plugin here. So the leads are relatively simple. I usually tend to actually raise them fairly high, almost actually up to around 120 for the low filter, and then for the high filter, I actually go sometimes up to 10K. So we're just gonna use that as our starting points for these two tracks here, and just call that a day. Probably wondering, man, I don't really hear a difference, but that's good though, because you know it's taking out stuff that you can't hear, but it is adding energy, so I do want to take that out. And if you listen to the, if you pay attention to the spectrograph here, it's still leaving some of the low end in there, but this, like I said, this plugin has a slope, so it will allow some of those lower frequencies in. And you do want overlap, guys. You don't want stuff where it's completely nuked and you have it like this and it's just nuked. That's gonna cause you problems later down the line. You're not gonna have any balls in your mix. That's just, you know, the fact of the matter. So you do want some overlap, but you want controlled overlap, and this is what these filters are allowing me to achieve that. So let's go ahead and jump over to the solos. Let's see what we got here. And I didn't actually put the amplifiers on there. Shame on you, Sebastian. You should have done that. Let's go ahead and do that now. And I mean, there's not really much to do. Solos kind of get the same treatment. I'm gonna just copy the same plugins over to from the leads to the solos, and kind of call that a day. Again, though, they may change. This is just placeholders for now, but it's allowing us to get the volume balance that we're looking for. I'm gonna pan these as well. Works for me. While we're in this section of the song, we might as well pan our volume balance, our post-production effects. So let's go ahead and start with the monks. Sounds good. Let me just quickly do some filtering that like kind of all of that I want gone. Don't need all that low end here. Let me. Then all that white noise, gone. Yeah, listen to that. That's terrible. Take that out. All right, listen to these guys here.
Better
like 16K. Alright, now I'm hearing the rhythm guitars again, starting to peak a little too much. Let's just bring it down like half a dB. Much better. Let's bring in the sitar here. That's fine. We'll leave it at that. Alright, let's go back to vocals. Kinda got the instruments in, so let's go back to vocals here. We got this low here. I have become interested in this legitimate. So with vocals like this, I pretty much set it and forget it at about 100 to 120. We're just gonna leave it at like 100. That's fine, 102, whatever. Just leave it at that. I have become interested in this legitimate signal. Okay, so with the harmonies that you see highlighted here at the bottom, I have come to find that harmonies are usually pretty well off if they're about 6 dB below the main vocal. They just fit well. They tend to not overdo it. It's subject to change, but from experience, that's what I've noticed. Now, these are labeled harmonies. These are center harmonies, not left-right harmonies like you see here. So I also found that -6 works for here. Now that's assuming that your vocals are, gain staged right, and then you just have them on 0 dB and you don't have them like anywhere else. You would have to do the math if they're like here or like here, but usually -6 sounds like a good place. We'll skip forward so you guys can hear what I'm talking about. So far so good. Let's check the doubled lines. Yeah, these guys can be a little louder actually. Let's do -3. Let's try -1.5. Oh, that was a... we must have recorded that twice. I didn't even realize that was in there. That's fine. We can take that out. So far, so good. I'm going to start from the beginning and then make micro adjustments. But yeah, that's basically the process of how I do a volume balance. I kind of go in there, it goes back and forth, and kind of just adjust everything from there. Pretty much it. You know what I did forget to do is the toms, when they're rolling in, I forgot to filter them out actually. So let's do that now, and then we'll go ahead and loop back and listen to a portion of the song, and we'll do micro changes as things go along. So let's go ahead and pull up our loop and our filters. Okay. We're good. All right, let's listen to the loudest part of the song here. Let's actually find a different section here. Let's do this section. Yeah, these actually could come up just a little bit. Let's do like an extra dB on these guys here. Let's listen to that again. Sick. All right, let's move on. It can't. I know you guys are probably wondering, man, the vocal seems a little low, but trust me, with all the processing that we're gonna do, it's actually gonna come up a lot in volume, or perceived volume rather. You're gonna see it kind of relatively stay the same, but it's gonna sound louder than it really is. So it's a good place for it to be. I did want these sections higher. It's supposed to sound huge in this area, like with the double stereo vocals. So that's kind of what I wanted them to be a little bit louder for. Other than that, I think we're good. Let me just check one more area here. Cool, man. That sounds good. So that's pretty much it for volume balancing. Everything seems to be sounding good. I don't really hear anything that is kind of catching my ear and sticking out. I'll listen to maybe just a couple more sections, but I think I'm all right, just to make sure though. Okay, I will mention before I let you guys go that I do like to listen to a reference track. I don't know what I've chosen. I forgot the song or the name of the song, but I'm gonna check the balance on that reference track versus what I got so far. It's gonna sound completely different, but it's gonna give me at least an idea of if I'm in the ballpark in terms of balance of the instruments. so far so good. Everything seems to be in balance. So, all right, guys, this is the end of the volume balancing video. I'm gonna go ahead and move on to another section, which we're gonna go ahead and start with kick and snare next.